Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka, and look now at our stories. Effective January 1 next year, the Ghana card will be mandatory before one can purchase or review motor and other insurance products. And this was contained in a notice from the National Insurance Commission seen by Joy Business. More in this report. National Insurance Commission, corporate clients are also required to provide their tax identification number when completing their motor insurance transactions. The Commission in a circular argued that this is meant to help improve claims handling, strengthen Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering. The Commission also believes this will help reduce fraud and as well as help in aligning Ghana with global financial service standards. It appears the insurance sector is following similar directive from the Bank of Ghana when it comes to deposits and all other financial transactions. And it is important we have a conversation on the back of this, especially the rationale behind this move. Joining us via Zoom to do that is Bernard Ohimeng-Ban, Acting Deputy Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission. Thank you so much, Bernard, for your time here on Business Live. And first off, one would want to know what went into this directive by the Commission. Unmute for me, Bernard.
Great. Thank you so much. Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers across the country. So your question is what went into the directive?
Exactly.
A number of things. First of all, as an industry, we are looking at ways to improve claims experiences for our customers, right? If you paid attention, the biggest challenge people have always complained about is claims stage experiences when it comes to insurance. Now, this is one of the key steps we are taking to improve claim stage customer experiences for people who buy insurance. Once we're able to validate people's identity at the point of purchasing insurance, it doesn't become an issue again at the point of claims, right? But additionally as well, as you have mentioned, it helps us improve KYC within the insurance industry. It helps us to eliminate or control money laundering within the insurance industry. And then it also helps us control claims fraud. The data we have suggests that up to about 40% of all claims within the insurance industry are maybe fraudulent, right? And so this is one of the key steps we are taking to ensure that we improve experiences for customers, legitimate customers, when it comes to their claims, and strengthen the insurance industry's ability to fulfill on its obligation to policyholders.
And I appreciate that. But again, did you consider there are still a lot of people out there who do not have their Ghana card, as well as even insurance companies who may also not have their verification machines to effectively do that?
That's a great question. And definitely this is one of the things that we considered. So let's look at what the numbers look like. As of today, the Ghana card has been issued to about 94% of all Ghanaians above the age of 15 years, right? So you have coverage of about 94%, according to the NIA, of Ghanaians above the age of 15 have the Ghana card. Now, the 6% who do not have are likely to be people who do not want to have anything to do with banking or to do with the formalized sector of the economy. So Bank of Ghana rolled out mandatory requirement of the Ghana card as the sole identity card in 2022, sometime in July 2022. So we think that the basis for using the Ghana card already exists, and it doesn't look like a lot of people will be excluded. By the way, if you want to look at the legal basis, the legislative basis, right? So if you look at LI 2111, Regulation 71D already mandates that the purchase of insurance should be by the use of the Ghana card, okay? Regulation 71D of LI 2111 mandates that when you are purchasing insurance, you should be using the Ghana card. And recently, the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has issued a directive for Ghana card to be utilized for identity purposes across the country. So I think we are of the opinion, based on the evidence of what has happened within the banking space, and based on what the data says, that people will have the Ghana card to be able to purchase the insurance.
But Bernard, when you took the decision, did you consider low insurance penetration in Ghana and how this directive could affect that?
I mean, low insurance penetration is one of the key things that we are always working on, but especially on the use of Ghana card. There doesn't seem to be any clear correlation between the use of the Ghana card and an impact on insurance penetration. No, as I've explained to you, 94% of adults of people above 15 years have the Ghana card, right? And currently, anyone who walks to any of the regional or district offices of the National Identification Authority will be able to get an instant Ghana card issued to them. So it doesn't appear that this directive will have any impact on insurance penetration at all.
Talking about insurance penetration, what more is your organization doing to improve penetration going forward?
Thank you so much. So there are three approaches and perhaps more that we'll be working with moving forward. On the first leg, we are looking at the enforcement of compulsory insurances. Now, motor insurance is one of those compulsory insurances that the law requires that anyone who uses a motor vehicle on public roads must have, so that people who get injured or whose properties get destroyed can be compensated. Now, what we are doing is working on an interagency collaborative effort that involves the DVLA, so that when you go to DVLA to register a vehicle or to do the roadworthiness of your vehicle, your insurance will become a requirement before you get out of the DVLA premises. So that's the first thing. And then you have, we're strengthening collaboration with the Ghana Police, MTTD as well, so that we can rid the roads of people who drive without motor insurance. Then you have the enforcement of compulsory commercial fire insurance on commercial buildings. On that, we are working closely with the Ghana National Fire Service to ensure that we can enforce and improve coverage and ensure compliance in that area. The second leg has to do with improving coverage and access to insurance for people who have previously not been covered by insurance. Now, on that, so the NIC is working on, say, agric insurance. And so very soon, we are going to see agric insurance rolled out for smallholder farmers. And to make it even better, we're working on a subsidy scheme so that smallholder farmers in the beginning will not be paying the full cost of insurance, so that we can accelerate uptake of insurance for the benefit of smallholder farmers across the country. Beyond farmers, we're working on a number of innovative product development efforts to get products that speak to the needs of the informal sector. So the NIC working with industry bodies and then agencies like GIZ, rolling out a number of products that speak to the needs of the informal sector as a way to improve coverage of insurance in the country. The third leg will be innovation. So the NIC is working on a number of efforts to open up the spaces for innovation within the insurance industry. The first is the sandbox that allows people with innovative ideas to come into the insurance space and be able to test their ideas so that those that are viable are allowed to go out into the broader market. The NIC recently organized an innovation challenge. And the Insurance Act as well gives us a lot of innovation enabling provisions, all of which we are working to activate and enable so that we can open up access to insurance and improve the penetration.
And I'll be glad if you could do this for me in a minute. What's the plan for the NIC as we enter 2026 with regards to regulation?
Right. So the NIC as a regulator is working on three strategic pillars. One is that we are sanitizing the market to ensure that we have a stronger market that speaks to consumer protection, ethical practices within the market. So you're going to see NIC working very well to ensure that we have a well-sanitized market. Secondly, the NIC is also becoming very growth-focused so that we can be working on market development efforts that improve access to insurance. And then the third is that we are positioning Ghana as a preferred hub for insurance through the use of regulatory approaches so that we can attract investment, we can attract a lot of insurance business to the economy of Ghana.
Bernard Ohimembang, thank you so much for your time. He is the Deputy Acting Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission. I appreciate the time, Bernard. Now, away from that, the United States government says its freeze on foreign assistance to Ghana will remain in force until the Mahama administration successfully works out a restructuring arrangement with the U.S. government. Ghana owes approximately $251 million in outstanding payments to several U.S.-based companies as of early to mid-2025, a situation resulting in the country being barred from enjoying official development assistance from American platforms such as the Millennium Challenge Corporation. Now, speaking at a media roundtable in Accra, U.S. State Department's Deputy Assistant Secretary for West Africa, William Stevens, says the decision is in furtherance with American laws.
One of those great news stories that pops up and everyone looks around and says, what is this? It was an old news story that somehow popped up and was refreshed. But essentially, Ghana has over the years had problems with arrears to U.S. companies. And I will say that the Mahama administration has made several key payments to American companies in the last 6 months and has been working on restructuring bilateral debt. So the government of Ghana defaulted on funding from Exim Bank a few years ago. I can't remember which year, but a few years ago. And we're in the midst of restructuring that debt. But as long as there's a bilateral default, we aren't able to give additional funding directly to the government. It's a law. And so we're working on that. We're hopeful that we'll get that done shortly. But as characterized in that media article, it's not entirely accurate. Over. Yeah.
And just to add on that too, there are certain elements of our assistance funding that are exempt from those limitations, as in the health sector. So which makes it confusing to understand, and we fully respect that. But yeah, as he said, the original announcement on this was actually back in August. So there has not been some new development in that regard. We're hopeful. We are in the process of negotiating the bilateral bilateral debt restructuring. We haven't quite finalized it yet, but those discussions continue, and they've been quite fruitful.
A reminder, you're still watching Business Live. We have more for you shortly. Hello again, welcome back to Business Live. The government of Colombia is seeking to use Ghana's vibrant business environment to enter the West African market, and this is due to the country's infrastructure and economic growth recorded in the last few years. Deputy Minister of Trade for Colombia, Titus Yep, said this to Joy Business during the courtesy call on Fidelity Bank Ghana as part of the official state visit by the Vice President of Colombia to Ghana. More in this report.
The courtesy call by the Colombia delegation, led by its vice president, forms part of the state visit to foster deeper business relations with Ghana as the gateway to Africa. This also reaffirms Fidelity Bank's contribution to international trade and support for entrepreneurs. After a closed-door engagement with management of the bank, Deputy Minister of Trade for Colombia, Titus Yepes, told journalists that Ghana is well positioned to be used as a key trade partner for the African continent.
You have a strong pull here, and then we can use that as a part of our gateway to West Africa. And then the idea is to establish, for example, a maritime line between the port of Cartagena and the Colombian Caribbean to the port of Accra. The idea is also, let's put forward, why not, a flying directly from Bogota to Accra. Instead of actually going to Europe, where we are actually taking 40 hours to get here, let's spend 12 hours, which is a reasonable amount of time, right? So the opportunities are very much a lot. And then there will be businesses for everybody and opportunities not only for large-scale businesses, but also for small businesses as they actually can come and implement different opportunities.
Deputy Managing Director of Fidelity Bank, Ata Yabuajan, assured of the bank's continued support to trade facilitation and partnership to more international markets.
I have identified sectors across the two countries where further collaboration will be needed. And so as an outcome, we have agreed that there will be a follow-up meeting, and this one is between the two private sectors, that of Ghana and that of Colombia, where within the next 1 week, we are going to bring all the business people together to explore how we can move this collaboration forward. And Fidelity has opted to host and fund this meeting.
The delegation was also accompanied by some respected business leaders of both Colombia and Ghana.
Chief Executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana, Robert Jatto, says human capital is as important as financial and regulatory capital in building a strong banking system. Speaking at the 2025 induction and graduation ceremony of CIB Ghana, he highlighted the institute's role in developing trusted professionals for banks and the wider economy.
According to the Chief Executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Robert Jatto, banking goes beyond financial and regulatory capital. He says developing skilled and trusted professionals is critical to ensuring stability across the financial services ecosystem and the wider economy.
Banks need capital, different forms of capital, economic capital, regulatory capital, but also human capital. And that's where Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana comes in. We develop trusted professionals or human capital for the financial service sector and beyond. And so we have members who are chartered bankers who work, of course, in the banking sector, but also outside of the banking sector. Go to MTN, go to VRA, go to other sectors, economy, where we see bankers and chartered bankers actively engage in developing our country and economy.
Overall best student Aram Kluche, a relations manager with First National Bank, describes the program as demanding but rewarding, noting that it equips bankers with industry-wide knowledge and strong ethical values.
It hasn't been easy. I mean, combining work, study, family, or every other thing. It hasn't been easy, but it's just perseverance and I would say prioritizing what is important and getting the best out of it. When you enroll in this program, you get to have an idea of what happens in the whole bank. It teaches you what's the trending topics and things that you need to understand in the industry of banking. And most importantly also, it teaches you the importance of ethics and being professional, aside being competent in your role.
The youngest graduating student, Rosemary Kwanzaa of Access Bank, says determination helped her overcome the challenges of the program, encouraging young people to start professional banking courses early.
Stressful. And some people, when they fail one paper, they just lose courage or they don't want to write again. But then I failed like twice, but then still I was able to write. I was determined, and after all, I still passed, and I'm here now. I'm encouraging the people in the university now, or those who just started their NSS, that they can enroll now. Even if it's one paper you can write, you can start now. Because when you wait till later or when you start work, and even for the ladies, when you start giving birth, it will be tiring. So you can decide to start now.
CIB Ghana says it will continue to promote professional training, ethical standards, and collaboration with regulators and industry players to support the long-term growth and stability of Ghana's financial sector.
And you can always get stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Pius Kojubaka. That's it for the bulletin.